Good evening and welcome to After Hours Horror. Tonight, we will be talking about 5 terrifying places and their history. So please, lock your doors, turn out the lights and settle in for these spooky stories. Let's get started. Sloss Furnace, located in Birmingham, Alabama. 5 years after the Civil War, Birmingham was founded. With its birth in 1871 came the need for tons of pig iron to fix the United States' crumbling infrastructure. So, Colonel James Withers Sloss began to build Sloss furnaces. A year later, the company opened its doors to hundreds of employees. Jobs on blast furnaces were advanced but also extremely dangerous. The working conditions were also considered awful, which led to many workers getting injured and some even falling into the furnaces to their death. By the early 1900s, conditions hadn't improved and were even stated to have gotten worse. Especially after their new foreman named James Slag Wormwood, who was considered to be cruel, who took dangerous risks to increase production, leading to nearly 50 workers dying and many more left severely injured. In 1906, workers who were tired of the dangerous working conditions allegedly turned on the foreman and threw him into the furnace in retaliation. Today you can still walk the grounds of the Sloss furnaces. There have been reports of people hearing Slog's voice yelling, "Get back to work," as among other paranormal experiences. The Dakota Apartment Building opened in 1884. It has been home to many rich and famous residents of New York City, including Rosemary Clooney, Judy Garland, and Rosie O'Donnell. Among the famous residents to have stayed there was John Lennon and Yoko Ono, who both moved into the Dakota Apartment Building in 1973. John Lennon was actually murdered outside of the Dakota on December 8, 1980. It's reported that before that day, John had mentioned seeing a crying lady ghost walking the halls. After John had passed, Yoko, who still resided there, claimed she saw John's ghost sitting at his piano and said to her, "Don't be afraid. I am still with you." The Sorency House Ghost. Located in Sorency, Georgia. In the 1870s, the family home of Alan Powell Sorency began experiencing paranormal activity. Family members reported witnessing objects soaring across rooms, hearing laughter, heavy crying, and seeing red eyes staring into the house, as well as food was thrown from their plates and utensils twisted into unusable shapes. On the day the family decided to finally leave the house, a fire iron allegedly floated up and started hitting and attacking one of their sons on the head. No one was ever brave enough to live in the house again, and the building went up in flames in 1925. The Crescent Hotel. Located in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, and opened in 1886. During construction, a worker named Michael was killed, and his ghost reportedly still haunts room 218. The hotel came under the ownership of known medical fraud Norman Baker in 1937, who fancied himself a doctor even though never receiving a day of medical training in his life. Norman turned the hotel into the Baker Cancer Hospital, claiming to have the cure for cancer. At the time of his arrest in 1940, it's estimated that Norman had defrauded cancer sufferers who came to him for his so-called cure, out of approximately $4 million. Patients who died under his care at the hotel were buried right in the hotel's basement, which served as a makeshift morgue. His patients' spirits are said to still remain. Guests often say they see apparitions roaming the halls, hear knocking, and other unexplained noises during their stays. The Bell Witch Cave. Located in Adams, Tennessee. If you're a scary movie lover, you might actually know about the Bell Witch Cave. The films An American Haunting and The Blair Witch Project are both based on the story. It's also widely considered by ghost hunters and paranormal investigators as America's most haunted location. The story of the Bell family dates back to 1804. John Bell moved his wife, Lucy, and their children from North Carolina to Robertson County, Tennessee, where he purchased 320 acres of farmland along the Red River. The family lived a peaceful life for 13 years, but in the summer of 1817, the family would experience things that would change their lives forever. What started as seeing strange animals on the farm led to hearing eerie sounds in their cabin. Several accounts varied on who or what was causing the disturbances or why they were tormenting the Bell family. The sounds the family heard escalated to a voice speaking directly to them until it could be heard in every room of the house, while especially terrorizing John's youngest daughter Betsy with beatings that left her unconscious. The notoriety of this unseen force spread throughout the countryside and left the Bell family with people camping out on their farm by the hundreds, hoping to witness this strange phenomenon. This Bell Witch, as it became known, vowed to kill John Bell, and subsequently took credit for his death 3 years later on December 20, 1820, when a vial was found next to his deathbed with a strange liquid inside. John Bell's death was attributed to the Bell Witch, making Tennessee the only state to recognize a person's death to the supernatural. The Bell Witch was also known for her accurate predictions of the future, and her vows to John Bell's children of her return in future years. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any uploads, and make sure to follow us on Twitter as well. If you have any suggestions on what you'd like us to cover, let us know in the comments, but until next time, stay safe.